The Galactic Council had seen many species rise and fall across the cosmos, but none quite like the humans. When Captain Elena Vasquez stepped into the crystalline chamber aboard the Nexus station, the assembled delegates fell silent. Her pressure suit bore scorch marks from vacuum exposure, and her helmet carried the telltale scratches of micrometeorite impacts, evidence of her recent journey into the Abyss sector. "Impossible," whispered the Cytherian ambassador, her translucent wings trembling. "No organic being can survive in that region. The quantum storms alone would tear apart any known shielding." Ambassador Thresh of the Hegemony leaned forward on his hover platform, his multiple eyes focusing intently on the human. "Captain Vasquez, our deepest probes recorded your ship's destruction 17 cycles ago. How do you stand before us now?" Elena removed her helmet, revealing cropped black hair and eyes that seemed to hold starlight. When she spoke, her voice carried the quiet confidence that had unnerved alien diplomats for decades. "Because you fundamentally misunderstand what it means to be from a death world." The term Deathworld had become the galaxy's designation for Earth after first contact. A planet where the very atmosphere was corrosive to most species, where the gravity could crush delicate bones, where radiation bombarded the surface daily, and where the native life forms had evolved to be impossibly resilient. The galactic community had initially pitied humanity for evolving in such harsh conditions. That pity had gradually transformed into something approaching fear. "The quantum storms you mentioned," Elena continued, "they're beautiful, like Aurora Borealis but scattered across dimensions. My ship didn't get destroyed, it got rebuilt." She gestured to the viewing portal behind her, where something unprecedented hung in space. The assembled delegates turned to look, and several species equivalent of gasps echoed through the chamber. Where before there had been empty void, now floated a vessel unlike anything in the known galaxy. It appeared to be Elena's original exploration craft, but transformed. Its hull rippled with energy patterns that matched the quantum distortions of the Abyss sector, and around it, like loyal pets, orbited 7 small stars. "The thing about Deathworlders," Elena said, watching their reactions with amusement, "is that we don't just survive the impossible, we befriend it." The Zenith Collective's representative, a being of pure energy contained within a containment suit, pulsed erratically. "Those are living stars. Class M protostars with coherent consciousness. The theoretical energy required to achieve symbiosis with stellar entities would be about the same as a human teenager uses during a growth spurt," Elena interrupted. "You all keep thinking in terms of your evolutionary constraints. You evolved in safe systems, stable environments, predictable physics. We evolved on a world where the planet itself was actively trying to kill us every single day." She walked to the center of the chamber, and the delegates unconsciously drew back. Not from fear of her physically, the station's security could handle any individual, but from the growing realization of what her presence meant. "When I entered the Abyss sector, my ship's AI calculated a 0.02% survival probability. Do you know what that means to a human?" Elena smiled, and it was the expression of a predator that had just realized it was at the top of the food chain. "It means slightly better odds than Tuesday." The Aquarian delegate, speaking through his translation matrix, bubbled urgently. "But the stellar entities, how did you convince living stars to—" "I didn't convince them," Elena said. "I helped them. They were trapped in a dimensional fold, slowly dying. Your impossible quantum storms were their death cries echoing across space-time. So I did what any Deathworlder would do. I walked into a cosmic-scale natural disaster and offered to help." Ambassador Thresh's voice carried a note of something that might have been admiration or terror. "And they simply followed you?" Elena nodded toward the viewing portal, where the 7 stars continued their orbital dance around her transformed ship. "Turns out, when you spend a few billion years trapped in interdimensional storms, you develop a real appreciation for someone willing to share their lunch and offer directions home." The silence stretched for long moments before the Cytherian ambassador finally spoke. "What do you want from us, Captain?" "Nothing you haven't already given," Elena replied. "You've shown us that there are wonders beyond imagination scattered across this galaxy. You've shared your knowledge, your technology, your cultures. We're grateful." She paused, her gaze moving from delegate to delegate. "But you've also shown us that you've been content to observe from safe distances, to catalog and study rather than truly explore." She gestured again toward her ship and its stellar companions. The Abyss sector isn't empty. It's full of lost things, broken things, impossible things waiting for someone crazy enough to reach out and offer help. Your scanners show barren space because you're looking for what you understand. We're going back out there, and we're going to find all the lost wonders you've been afraid to touch. The Zenith Collective representative pulsed with what the translation matrix identified as incredulity. You speak of exploration as if it were a rescue mission. Elena's smile widened. For a Deathworlder, what's the difference? As she turned to leave, the 7 stars began to sing, a harmony that resonated through space itself, audible even through the station's shielding. The assembled delegates listened in awe as the stellar beings performed what could only be described as a song of gratitude and companionship. The Galactic Council had spent eons building careful barriers between themselves and the dangerous unknowns of deep space. They had created a civilization based on safety, predictability, and controlled expansion. And then the Deathworlders had arrived, treating the galaxy's most fearsome mysteries like neighbors who just needed a helping hand. As Elena Vasquez walked back toward her impossible ship with its chorus of stellar friends, the council members began to understand a fundamental truth. Humanity wasn't just another species seeking membership in galactic civilization. They were the cavalry that civilization had never known it needed. Outside the station, 7 young stars sang their joy to the void, following the small ship that had taught them what friendship meant. And in the depths of space, other lost things began to turn their attention toward the peculiar corner of the galaxy, where someone had finally come looking for them with kindness instead of fear. The Deathworlders were going exploring again. The universe would never be the same.